Welcome to another episode of Band Director Bootcamp, the podcast with productivity and wellness tips for busy band directors. I'm your host, Lesley Moffat, and I'm really grateful to be sharing this platform with you. As busy band directors, we know you don't have time to watch lengthy professional development webinars, so we share 20-minute tidbits with takeaways you can use to support you with professional longevity and a healthier life. And today I'm here with Ron Castonguay. He is a 31-year veteran music teacher. He taught for 20 some years in Miami at a college prep high school where he served as department chair and taught all the ensembles. So some of y'all that teach lots of ensembles, stay tuned. You're going to learn some things. He's now currently in his 5th year as the director of arts at Frederick Gunn School in Connecticut. And he manages a $22 million performing arts building. So he's got a few things going on. And he's got a brand new book coming out. He's the author of Rhythmic Sight Reading, the Tik-A Tee Method. And if you have ever stressed about teaching your students how to sight read and you've piecemealed things together and it's just not working and that keeps you up at night, stay tuned because he's going to take the stress out of sight reading for you and your students. Because that's a productivity tip if I ever heard one. So Ron Castonguay, I want to say thanks for being here and congrats on the new book.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yes, it is, especially because I got to talk with you 4 years ago when you were like, I'm going to do a book.
Yeah.
And it's there. I saw him hold it in his hands today. So I remember manifesting it, right? I'm going to do it. And you and Adrian Gordon kind of buddies and both of you with the books coming out recently. So it's been fun to hear and to have talked with you at the beginning and now to see all that happen. So really grateful that you're here to share. To share some stuff with us. And I know a lot of us piecemeal a lot of things together. And sight reading, God, that's just one of the most important skills we can give our kids, because that means when they leave us, they can continue to be musicians because they don't need us to hold their hands. So it's a skill we want to really, really build into what we teach our kids. So we're going to let him talk about that. But before we get onto the book, Ron, talk to us a little bit about, why'd you write this book? What led you to it? Because most people don't write a book because everything's just peachy, So what happened? Give us the dirt.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started, I was kind of thrown into music education a little bit in 1997, so a long time ago. And it was a fledgling music program, which had to be rebuilt. And I started off with a little chorus and a little jazz band. And as the program grew, they wanted to add ensembles. I wanted to add ensembles. So we added a string ensemble and we added, a concert band, a jazz band, a full chorus. And not out of arrogance, I ended up having to teach all of those because the school didn't really want to hire a new teacher. And I'm a woodwind player. My degree is in theory and composition. So obviously teaching strings and jumping into chorus and all of these things were new to me. So I was open to learning, which I think helped a lot. I took voice lessons at University of Miami a little bit. I learned how to play the cello a little bit. So really trying to just educate myself so that I could be a better teacher and jump in and have fun with my students. Fast forward, starting to get a little bit into this a little bit more. They ended up building us a music room, which was great. The program was becoming a little bit bigger. We had about 120 students, which is not huge, but 120 students across the ensembles. It started to become aware that we were, improving and getting a little bit better. And as we were learning music, I was starting to realize that one of the most important things for students to become independent musicians, which is ultimately the goal, right? Mm-hmm. Was the aspect of sight reading. And because I was teaching chorus one period and then strings the next period and then band and then jazz band, I realized that the idea of sight reading, over 90% of the mistakes that my students were making were in rhythm. Here and there, let's say, they might mix an accidental from the key signature, but that's almost an easy fix because you work on the scales, you work on the key signatures. But the rhythm, I started to realize there's not one methodology. There is Takadimi, there's Gordon, there's solfege, there are rhythmic methods out there, the numerical, but none of them were really working for me across all the platforms. So I couldn't go into chorus and teach it one way and then go into concert band rehearsal and teach it that same way. And I figured I needed to figure out a way to have the same exact rhythmic sight reading methodology across all the ensembles so that every student in the music program was actually learning how to read rhythm the same way, no matter what ensemble they were in, because we also had students in chorus and strings, or jazz band and chorus. So that really made sense to me. And through trial and error and trying all the different methods, and believe me, I tried them all, I realized that breaking it down into just something very simplistic. My method, I'm not reinventing the wheel, and I don't claim to be reinventing the wheel. Using TAs and Ts and Tik-A for 16ths and triplets, that's not reinventing the wheel. But what it is doing is it's solidifying a method. And the method that I've developed, I think, is out of necessity to go cross-platform for any ensemble, any instrument. And I think it's simple. The simplicity of it, I think, can't be overrated, because that's where the fun comes in. Because if you can teach the students how to read rhythms quickly and make it fun, that's where I started to see real development. And as this method became more and more solidified and grounded in my program, I noticed that all my students were sight reading better as an ensemble, as individuals. More kids were making all states. When we went into the sight reading room as ensembles, we would Tik-A Tee through all the music first before, and air bow, for example, if it was the strings, they would air bow while they Tik-A Tee through the whole song. And the sight reading judges were like, whoa, what's going on right now? And then when they put their bows on the strings, there were no rhythmic errors. And it was really fun for the students. It was challenging and fun, and we were tackling that 90% of the problem, which is the rhythm. So now we just had to make sure, like, okay, guys, put your fingers on the key signature, make it tactile. Put your finger on that D key signature and make sure you play a high C sharp, right? So things of that nature. But yeah, it was this is a method that I would say over 20 years, just kind of developing and tweaking and making little changes here and there. But I realized that it really did work for my students. And when I came up to Connecticut in 2019, it was a few months before the pandemic hit. And I was using this method here with a very fledgling, even more fledgling than my last program, a very fledgling program. And I incorporated the Tik-A Tee method here, and it started working, and the kids were starting to sight read again, and it was great. And then the pandemic hit, and I guess Adrian and I, we really just pushed each other. We met you, which was something we talk about often as the first inspiration for us to write our books. So thank you. And we really pushed each other through the pandemic. And I guess instead of baking sourdough bread, he and I wrote books. So he got his out a little sooner than I did. Mine's taken quite a while, but it's been well worth the wait. I'm really proud of it. It's has over 346 exercises with like over 363 accompanying MP3s so that students can hear the quote unquote right answer to the sight reading exercise, because that's part of the struggle with sight reading too, right? You can't go tell a kid, go practice sight reading, because they don't know if they got it right.
Exactly.
But if you have an MP3 with the quote unquote answer, then they can just play along, sing along, whatever, Tik-A Tee along, whatever they need to do. They can hear what the rhythm sounds like. So it's been, as you said, this is my 31st year in education. It's been a while, but I really feel like this method hits home. It's definitely resonated with some music educators. When I presented at the Midwest Clinic this past December, I could tell that it was really resonating with music educators, and I'm super grateful to all the people that have helped. And I'm really proud that it's out, and I can't wait to release it to the world on March 15th.
Well, I talk to a lot of teachers who don't just teach band. They do, like you, teach across, multiple disciplines of the music areas. And so that consistency is, for the teacher's sake, is wonderful. Yeah. And then also for the sake of the kids, and if they go between ensembles or anything like that. So I'm fascinated. And I'm going to ask you to sneak peek a little bit of the book with us in the next couple of minutes here, because what we're going to do, I'll let you guys that are listening know, we're going to post some links in the show notes so that you can go preview the book and pre-order it, and maybe by the time this goes, it might even be out there so you can check out. But we're going to have those links for you so that if you're hearing stuff you like, you know how to get it into your own hands so that you can figure out what you want to do. But let's talk a little bit about the content of the book. Give me an example of something that you do that would engage kids. You said it's fun. Tell me something how do you keep it fun?
Yeah, so it is fun in that, and the fun comes from the simplicity. So, for example, I've got a poster that actually, it's a 20 by 30 poster that has the 4 basic words or verbiage for the Tik-A Tee method, and there's really just 4 words. So you say ta for a quarter note and longer. Period. There's nothing else. You don't say ta 2, 3, 4 for a whole note, just ta. So it gives the educator an opportunity to talk about whole notes getting 4, but you're going to hold the ta for 4 beats, and you're gonna think about those 4 beats. Eighth notes are T. So if you got 2 eighth notes, T, 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 so forth and so on. Tik-A is 16th notes. That's, again, not reinventing the wheel. This is something that's been out in the world, but keeping the 2 16th notes the same on both ends has made a huge difference. So when I was trying the Tik-A Tee method, the fact that Demi is different than Taka, that was making, there was a struggle there. So just Tik-A, 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 Tik-A. It's a lot. It's fun to say once you get the kids saying it too, when they all do it. And then triplets, there's some methods out there that have strawberry, blueberry, things of that nature. And it just wasn't hitting home for high school students, especially. So I just very simply, and again, not reinventing the wheel, triplet, right? Just triplet. And if there's a rest on one of those, you leave out one of those syllables. Those are the 4 basic words. And once you show the students that, they're like, oh. Then the other part of this is that I think of rhythm as language. So music and rhythm, for all intents and purposes, is finite, right? There's only so many rhythms in 4/4 you can have in 2 beats. There really is. It is finite. And in the upper elementary, middle school grades, and high school grades, it becomes even more so because it's not going to be anything too crazy. So I start talking about compartmentalization, and I start talking about like, okay, when you see a dotted quarter note, eighth note, it's always going to sound like this in 4/4, and talking about the upbeat and how it creates syncopation on the end of 2 or the end of 4, and just having the students engaged in that way and having them think about music as a language. And I refer to, in my classes, I refer to music as a language often. And I've even gone as far at my last school to try to push music class as being a world language.
When you do that, let all of us know how you do it, because I've been wanting
because I believe strongly, like,
it is.
Music is a language. They're learning a language, and it's universal, right? So it hasn't hit home yet, but I'm not going to give up. But so the fun part comes in when you put the exercise up on the board, and then you start seeing the light bulbs click above the students' heads, like, oh, this actually, like I'll take one of their songs in their folders, and I'll say, look, forget about the notes, put your instruments down, let's just Tik-A Tee the rhythm. And I'll put a metronome in the room, which is really important. Metronomes are super important at, a tempo that's attainable. And then we'll Tik-A Tee through it, and then they'll get the rhythm. And then I'll say, okay, now let's pick up our instruments, and I want you just to play that rhythm on an open A if it's a string, for example. Opposite bows, and they'll go through it. And then I'll say, okay, let's add the notes. And they add the notes. The fun comes in the success.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's fun for students. And when you have them begin to sing. So if you've never had your concert band sing, if you've never had your orchestra sing, let your orchestra sing the A instead of, everybody just speaking it on their voice, because then it starts to sound cultish, so you put it on a note, and all of a sudden everybody's, now you're thinking musically about rhythm. So rhythm is now becoming like, oh, wait, I see how these dots connect. Rhythm and pitch creates melody. Oh, and the light bulb goes on. Then you start saying like, hey, let's do the Tik-A Tee method, and let's do this. We're in the key of G. Why don't we, this section, you guys sing a G and do the rhythm. You sing a B and you do the rhythm. Now they're singing in 2-part harmony, and they're doing the Tik-A Tee method. They're doing the correct notes with the primary triad. These are the times that the students get excited. And students love competition. They love challenge. So you can also challenge them and put challenges on the board. Like, okay, first student to get this Tik-A Tee up on the board here, gets a Snickers bar, whatever it is. And and they start getting really excited. So the fun comes in the success.
Yeah, that's so important. The fun can be in the success music. That's beautiful. And I'm going to have you talk to us about one more thing in a minute. But I just want to take a moment to speak about another or say a moment. Look, I can't speak today, you guys. I'm a real human. I just spent the day taking my middle schoolers to a retirement home to play. So, yeah. I'm going to try this again.
Totally understand.
Having a great day today. All right. Speaking of invaluable resources for band directors, I want to take a brief moment and share a message from our sponsor, the Empowered Music Educator Academy, where they help busy band directors create successful programs, build supportive communities, and feel frickin' amazing with an array of services that support professional longevity and a healthy life. Are you feeling overwhelmed with the never-ending tasks of being a band director? Do you dream of having a strong music program while still enjoying time for yourself and your family? Well, the Empowered Music Educator Academy is here to turn that dream into a reality. Here at the Academy, we offer a comprehensive suite of resources tailored just for you. From insightful books that offer fresh perspectives to engaging courses filled with practical strategies. But that's not all. If you need a more personalized approach, you can use our one-on-one coaching sessions, which are designed to address your unique challenges, helping you find harmony in your busy schedule. And for a truly immersive experience, join us at one of our retreats where you can rejuvenate and connect with fellow music educators. The Empowered Music Educator Academy isn't just about teaching music. It's about enriching your life as a band director. We're here to ensure you thrive professionally and personally, providing you with personalized tools for wellness and productivity tips that last a lifetime. So don't miss out. Visit our website at powereducator.com to learn more and take the first step towards a more balanced, fulfilling career in music education. Because at Band Director Bootcamp, we believe in empowering you to conduct not just music, but a life you love. All right, Ron, I'm not going to let you go till you tell us just another little snippet about your book. I'm already waiting. I'm going to get an advanced copy of this so I can start implementing it, because I love teaching rhythms and stuff, but I like the way you've got the verbalization going, and I'm picturing kids getting excited about this. So, and middle schoolers, a little competition in there, kind of fun. So give us just another little bit about the book that would help somebody out there who might be going, I don't know, what else is there?
Well, yeah, so I designed the book. I organized it in a 36-week curriculum. So every week, the table of contents is basically a new rhythm. So you can look, so let's say you're doing a song that has a dotted 8/16 note and your students are struggling. Well, then go to the week in my book where there are examples. There's an explanation of what a dotted 8/16 is mathematically and musically. And then go to that section and do all the exercises with the dotted 8/16 and go check out the MP3s. Because again, every single one of the exercises in my book has an MP3. So you could play it for them and they could hear what it sounds like. But it is organized in such a way that it's cumulative, it's scaffolded. So you start with simple and 4/4. This can be started in upper elementary and goes all the way. I have students to this day still using the Tik-A Tee Method auditioning, after college, during college and after college, they're still using it. I have students now that are teachers using the Tik-A Tee Method and will send me videos, and I post it on my social media. It's so much fun. But the book is organized in a way that it's all scaffolded, and every new rhythm is introduced, in my opinion, at the appropriate time in a musician's development. If you're going from simple times in interest to compound times in interest, for example, when do we start talking 6/8? And then how do we explain triplets to students? And we talk about, if you talk to students intelligently about, well, actually triplets are just borrowed from compound time, and here's why, and here's how it works, and check out this subdivision. And, you get excited teaching it, and the students are like, wow, this guy's really excited about this because I geek out on it. But then they start to understand it, and it's just words, So I think the organization of the book is really exciting to me because it's scaffolded and you can find it in the learning curve of a student. It's 36 weeks, which is a school year. And the MP3s are exciting because what other sight reading book out there has MP3s that accompany exercises? I don't think there are any. There are sight reading books, but somebody has to be there to tell the student they're right or wrong. Now you have an MP3 to go with every single one of them. And the reason that there's more MP3s than exercises is because I've done some of them at different tempos. I've done some of them in harmony, so that you can really start to hear how all of this works mathematically and how it is a language, how to compartmentalize measures and see rhythms as words, sight words, because advanced musicians, you were just talking about a gig you did, sight reading. You're not thinking about what a dotted quarter note, eighth note sounds like anymore. You know what it sounds like because it's a sight word for you. And if we can get students to that point, and vocalizing rhythms to help them melodically sight read successfully, that's where I get excited, and that's where students get excited. And to your point about helping stress, right?
Yeah.
We in the music world, like we have music performance assessments and we have concerts we have to put on, and then we get into our class and we're all stressed out. You guys got to learn this song. We've got a concert. We've got a performance. But we forget that they'll learn songs faster and they'll digest music faster if they know how to read.
Right.
So
this is a tool.
You cannot negate, you cannot forget about sight reading because it'll make your life easier.
Yes.
Your students will digest music more quickly.
I could not agree more. As we talked before we came on here, sight reading is, I think, one of the best gifts we can give them, because
Absolutely.
They can continue without us. And ultimately, that's what we want to do. So thank you to Ron Castonguay for being with us today. His book, Rhythmic Sight Reading, the Tik-A Tee Method, comes out March 15th. We're going to have links for it in the podcast notes. So check it out. And he's a real person. He's done this. This has been exciting to see it. It really is cool to see you go from idea to done. To me, it feels like no time at all because, I wasn't in the trenches with you for those 4 years, but cool, really cool. Thanks for joining us here today. And thank you to all you listeners who are making a difference in kids' lives through the magic of music education. The work you do matters, and so do you. Join us next time on Band Director Bootcamp for another episode of productivity and wellness tips to make your life a little easier.